Hi guys, welcome. I'm SimUK. This is Ride 4, and what I'm going to show you today is just me setting up my Hs3 Pro. Now, this is the world's only fully working motorcycle controller, and my God, what's in the pipelines for this device in the next 6 months is going to blow the bloody melons off the lot of you. But I can't talk about it right now. It's very hush hush. Very exciting stuff, trust me. But the Hs3 version that I have is equally as exciting. There's a whole bunch of new features which you're going to have to go watch my unboxing video to see all the details for. I'm not going to go into that today. But you can see me, I've just got a stool out. I put a mat down on the floor just to help keep them stationary. This here is the mount. This is where the actual handlebars will be mounted to my desk, and then they'll be connected up to the gear shifter and the rear brake, as you can see on the floor. So this is the main device itself. This is not one that you can buy. The version I have is completely unique. It's not a purchasable item, the one I have. It's like a hybrid of many different versions. It's quite old, this system, with a whole bunch of new bits attached to it. One of the things you can see on the left at the top there is a damper. That helps a lot, especially new players to the game. And we've got a hydraulic front brake on the right. And I tell you what, that is an absolute game changer. But we're going to try and hook it up with Ride 4 today. And that's not exactly a very straightforward thing. You can see me just connecting up the cables now. So the pedals connect to the handlebars. And then the handlebars have this one single USB connection, and you can see it's connecting straight to my system there, immediately recognized by Windows. I'm just adjusting the pedals now to basically suit my sitting position for today, because depending on where you sat, you can totally adjust pretty much everything on this device. And just make sure you're comfortable and you're capable of using the gear shifters for up and down gears, and obviously the rear brake on the right is a bit more simple. So the gears is definitely something you want to work on. So we're all configured up. You can see I have got my, I call them my race shoes, but they're not really race shoes. I just wear them because they make it more comfortable for my feet. Because effectively this is a motorcycle without wheels and an engine. And yes, I do have an Xbox 360 controller in my hand because Ride 4, you can see I've got rid of the camera because there's no point in showing you the camera at the moment. In Ride 4, you're literally chucked straight into the game, and yes, you have no option, no opportunity to adjust your settings, adjust your controllers, nothing like that. So it's immediately jump in Xbox 360 and away you go. You don't get to choose. You're just in it. It's a bit frustrating. So I'm just kind of trying to get used to the feel, if you will, of invalid lap. You can see there, immediately invalid lap on that corner. So I try again. I've gone around a couple of times and just trying to get a feel for the bike and a feel for the game and understand how the braking works on this bike, because obviously every single bike is going to handle differently. Same corner, invalid lap. So we're going to try it again. Try and get it clean this time. Effectively, all I want to do is complete this race so that I can go on, same corner. Learn from your mistakes, man. So yeah, effectively, all I really want to do is complete this mini race. It's like an introduction tutorial race, so that I can get into the game and set it up the way I want it to be set up. Now, there was a strange option that I discovered whilst I was sort of in this part of the game that allowed me to choose between extreme braking, soft braking, and extreme acceleration and soft acceleration. So I left it on default because I thought, well, I'll change that later. But I have looked and I have looked and I've looked and I've looked, and I could not find those settings in the game whatsoever. You see, I just invalidated another lap there. I probably did about, I don't know, 15 laps in total, maybe less than that. round and round and round and round. But I'm not going to play with an Xbox 360 controller because I have an HS3, and the HS3 is a hell of a lot more realistic, a hell of a lot more fun, a hell of a lot more challenging, but also a hell of a lot more rewarding as a result. So I think this is my clean lap. Just coming around here. I use the term clean very loosely because it's far from clean. I so nearly invalidated the lap on that corner there. And there we go. Coming up to the start-finish straight, or the start-finish line. And we should almost certainly have this one in the bag. We're definitely on time. 55, 56, 57. We've got to get 103 for gold. And there we go, coming round. Oh, you tosspot invalidated that lap. Literally 5 feet away from the start-finish line. So we go round one more time, a little bit peeved and annoyed with ourselves. I tell you what, this game is incredibly sensitive. You only have to touch some of these curbs and it'll invalidate your lap time. And it's so weird because some of them, you can climb all over the top of them and they don't care at all. So it's incredibly inconsistent. And I find that really quite frustrating. Especially seeing as the handling on the bike seems really quite twitchy to me at the moment. I don't think it's kind of fair. It doesn't add up particularly well. If you're going to have poor handling, oh my god, that was close to an invalidated lap. If you're going to have poor handling, then you can't have oversensitive, overzealous line touch judges, or whatever you call them. I don't know what you call them. Track sensitivity settings. You've got to be a bit more lenient. Especially, you know, this is somebody's first jaunt into the game. They've never played it before. Okay, so whilst we got the opportunity, we've got gold. Let's have a little look at the bike. The modelling is pretty good. See if I can do a donut. Don't see any track marks, so there are a few track marks actually. Very light. Quite realistic actually, thinking about it. That is a perfect circle. Interestingly, I didn't flip the bike there. Let's try that again. Let's see if I can do a wheelie. No. No wheelies allowed. We'll just park that there, I think. Okay, so you have to manually end the session. And you can see here that our time was good enough for gold, which is fine. No problem with that. Now we level up to level 2. Model affinity, constructor affinity. This is all stuff for the career, which obviously we're going to get into as quick as we can. But the thing about setting up the HS3 on a game like this that doesn't accept anything other than an Xbox-style controller is there's a lot of problems really. The biggest one is the dead zone. They at the moment in Ride 4 there's no customization for axes whatsoever. So you cannot, for example, reduce the dead zone on your controller or increase it if necessary. If you've got a really old controller and it won't centralize, then increasing that dead zone might help you. But you've got absolutely no control over that at all. They've locked all that away. And the problem is that with a handlebar, obviously you've got a lot more travel, a lot more movement in a handlebar than you do in a thumbstick on a controller. So I kind of need it to be a lot more responsive, I think is the right word. And at the moment, I'm still working on trying to get that right. Now, there's a great piece of software called X360E or something like that. There's a few variations of it. And what that does is it allows you to apply a anti-dead zone. So I can basically chop out the middle 10% or 5% or 12% or whatever it is I feel needs to be chopped out. And that kind of gets rid of that dead zone. But it's very, very personal about what feels right. And it takes a lot of time. And until you get that right, you're going to have a lot of issues. For example, if you don't make it big enough, then you're still going to have a dead zone, which means that very small adjustments on the bike are incredibly difficult to produce. You'll have nothing, boom, you get loads. And then also if you put too much of an anti-dead zone on there, you kind of jump, you basically cut the center section of your control system out. So you'll go from like 5 degrees left to 5 degrees right, and it's very difficult to find the middle. So you have to be very careful. It's definitely a work in progress. You'll eventually find something that feels right. And when you get that sweet spot, that's when you're in. So this is Hs3 controller enumerator version 4.13.6.0. And it's the 2020 version. Brilliant bit of kit. Thank you so much to whoever it is that produced this. I don't really know, to be fair. And basically what I'm doing is I'm emulating an Xbox 360 controller. So I'm passing the inputs from my Hs3 Pro, and I'm passing that in to this software package, which is then passing the message out as though it was an Xbox 360 controller. And it does work pretty well, and it allows games like this to accept external controllers like the Hs3. Now the Hs3 is the only PC motorcycle controller that you can have in your house. It's expensive, but it's expensive for obvious reasons. This is effectively all motorcycle parts that have been put together and amalgamated to create a very, very, very authentic system. And the best way I can describe this, and I will be making a full review, you can see I'm just what I'm doing here, let me just digress slightly. The rear brake can be set in two ways. It can be a digital input, which is what I've just changed it to, or it can be an analog input, which means, because the rear brake on my system is also hydraulic, so only a few games accept that input. And I left the hydraulic system on for Ride 4, and it made the game crash. So with a simple 2-second alteration, as you saw there, I've converted it from an analog input to a digital input. So now it's effectively a button, even though it's still an axis. It's actually it only fires right at the bottom, so it's now become a button. And Ride 4 is okay with that, but obviously what that means is I don't have subtle control over the rear brake. It's basically either on or it's off. And that's the problem with games like this, is they really don't cater for simulation, and it's understandable why. You know, if you've got any racing games, like car racing games, you know, you've got all the wheels, you've got all the pedals, you've got the shifters, you've got the handbrakes, you've got the sequential gear shifters, you've got the paddles, you've got all this stuff that really makes the game way more realistic. And some simulators really do a great job working with that and give you an experience that's very, very authentic, like Dirt Rally 2.0, for example. I find that to be a very, very authentic game on the most part. But in motorcycle simulation, yeah, they really, I mean, to be fair, there's only this one controller out there that has any way of emulating a motorcycle input system, as it were. So you can understand why they're not really catering for it. But, you know, if you've played games like GP Bikes, you know that that's a fully customizable system. It will take any controller and you can customize it, and you can configure it any way you like. And you just can't do that in games like Ride 4. They make no options for that at all. Now, a lot of people I know use steering wheels to ride motorcycle games, and they like that because it gives them the right angle for the corners. Well, that's all well and good, but, you know, I have a steering wheel, and I also have this Hs3. I'm very fortunate in that regard. I would definitely prefer this. This is way more authentic, way more realistic, way more immersive, and for somebody like me who wants a realistic riding experience, this is way more fun. So, for the remainder of this video, I'm going to shut up, and basically all you're going to get to see is me testing the system out, trying to get used to it, working out where the buttons are. You can see at the moment I'm still in third-person view. That's because I don't actually know which button it is to swap and change view, and it turns out that I haven't actually bound the correct button. But you can see here I'm trying to go up to first gear. I've got the clutch depressed, and I'm trying to go up to first gear, and it will not do it. It won't do it, and the reason why it won't do it is because it's not designed to do it. You can only go into first gear if you're moving, which is a bit disappointing. So although this game has a clutch button, the clutch doesn't do anything. It's a non-existent piece of equipment in this game. So yeah, basically all you're going to see for the rest of this video, and you can watch it or you can ignore it, is just me riding a little bit, binding some buttons, trying to ride a little bit more, testing the brakes, testing the dead zone, trying to adjust that. yeah, just basically testing out the system and seeing how it is. If you want to see some proper racing, then head on over to Sim UK Ultimate Realism, and that's our sister channel, our second channel. And over there you can see me starting a career, and as you saw in this particular video, that I have set it up to be as difficult and as realistic as humanly possible, but also we're going to go do the Asia route, because I think that's going to be more interesting. There's a lot of very good bikes coming out of Asia, and have done for a very long time, so that's kind of where I want to go and have a look. And it just seems like a more fun idea to me than doing the traditional European stance, which is what I normally do. So, okay, I've prattled on long enough, guys. Like I say, there's nothing much really else in this video, but I'll leave it up just in case anyone was interested. You can see the Hs3 in action whilst I'm setting it up and configuring it and trying to make it work with Ride 4, which is not as straightforward as you might hope it would be. But we kind of get there in the end, and we're getting better and better with every single lap. Thank you so much for watching. Please take care of yourselves till next time. Goodbye.